I found my boyfriend on a dating app using my dead brother's name.
My name is Olivia. I'm 24, and until last month, I would have sworn my boyfriend was the safest person in my life. We've been together almost 2 years. His name is Lucas. He's 26, quiet, patient, the kind of guy who remembers your coffee order and texts your mom on her birthday without you reminding him. He was there for me through the ugliest part of my life, after my older brother Michael died in a car accident 3 years ago. Michael wasn't just my brother. He was basically my second dad. He taught me how to drive, scared off creepy guys when I was a teenager, and sent me memes during college exams to make me laugh. Losing him ripped a hole in my life I didn't think would ever close. When I met Lucas, part of what made me fall for him was how gentle he was when I talked about Michael. He listened to the same stories over and over, hold my hand when I cried, and say things like, "He sounds like someone I would have looked up to too." He never pushed me to move on. He even went with me to the cemetery on Michael's birthday, stood there quietly while I left flowers and told dumb jokes the way I used to when he was alive. My mom loved him for that. She'd say, "At least you have someone who understands." I believed that. I believed Lucas respected my grief, my family, my brother's memory. I believed he saw Michael as a person we'd both missed out on knowing, not as some abstract story. I never imagined that out of all the ways a person could betray you, he'd pick the one that felt like digging my brother out of his grave just to wear his skin online. The whole nightmare started because my friend Zoe got bored. We were having a girls' night at my apartment, pizza, wine, trashy reality TV. She's been single for a while, so halfway through the movie, she pulled out her phone and said, "Help me judge men on this dating app. I need entertainment." We swiped left, right, laughed at weird bios. I was teasing her like, "You have terrible taste," totally relaxed. And then she swiped to a profile that made my whole body go cold. It was Lucas. Same smile, same stupid haircut I keep telling him to change, same tattoo on his forearm clearly visible in one picture. I stared, waiting to see his name under the photos, except it didn't say Lucas 26. It said Michael 27. For a second, my brain refused to process it. I actually laughed this weird shaky sound and said, "That's not funny." Zoe looked at me confused. "You know him?" I grabbed the phone. The profile said, "Michael, 27, no siblings, no serious relationships, looking for something real." My dead brother's name, my boyfriend's face, bio full of lies. My hand started shaking so badly I almost dropped her phone. Zoe's smile vanished. "Liv?" she asked quietly. I felt like I was watching someone else's life. I screenshotted everything with her permission, then hit back, my heart racing. Part of me wanted to keep swiping just to see how many times his face showed up under my brother's name. Instead, I logged into my own phone, downloaded the app, and made a profile just to search for him. There he was again. Same pictures, same name. Michael. I thought I might throw up. I went to the bathroom, locked the door, and slid down the wall. Why my brother's name? Why lie about having no siblings? Why be on a dating app at all? A tiny, hopeful part of me tried to rationalize it. Maybe it was old, maybe it was some kind of scam, maybe someone stole his photos. But the profile showed active today, and the app said recently online. There was only one way to be sure. I hit the little heart to match with him and typed a message. "Hey, Michael." He responded in under a minute. "Hey." My heart dropped. I typed, "Busy tonight?" just to see how far he'd go. "Depends who's asking," he replied. Instantly, I felt like I'd left my body. I could hear him in my head, the same playfully flirty tone he used with me when we first started talking. I sent, "Cute tattoo, I like your arm." He answered, "Thanks, you can see it in person if we vibe." That was enough. I took screenshots of every message, closed the app, and sat there on the bathroom floor shaking, listening to Zoe's concerned voice through the door. A part of me wanted to storm into our bedroom right then and wake him up with the phone in his face. Another part of me wanted to run and never look back. Instead, I wiped my eyes, went back out, and told Zoe everything. About my brother, about Lucas's supposed loyalty, about how he'd held my hand at the cemetery while apparently using Michael's name to flirt with other girls behind my back. Zoe was furious. "That's not just cheating, that's psychotic," she said. We decided I'd confront him the next day when I could speak without screaming. I barely slept. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw his profile. Michael, no siblings. The next afternoon, I invited him over. I behaved normally, made coffee, sat on the couch, asked about his day. He kissed my forehead like he always does, and I had to fight the urge to shove him away. Finally, I said, "Can I show you something?" He smiled. "Sure." I opened the dating app, pulled up his profile, and handed him my phone. The moment his eyes landed on his own face and the name beneath it, his whole body tensed. For a split second, pure guilt flashed across his face before he forced it neutral. "What is this?" I asked, my voice shaking. He swallowed. "It's not what it looks like," he said automatically, like he'd practiced that line. "Then please," I said, leaning forward, "tell me exactly what it is that I'm looking at, and why the hell you're calling yourself Michael." At first, he tried the usual garbage. He said it was an old account he'd forgotten to delete, even though it showed recent activity. He said his friends had dared him to make a profile as a joke. When I pointed out the messages from 30 minutes before, the part where he was actively flirting back, he shifted gears. "Okay, I've opened it a few times," he admitted. "But I never met up with anyone, I swear. I just like the attention. It's not cheating if it's just talking." My chest burned. "And the name?" I asked quietly. "Why my brother's name?" That was the only time he hesitated, like he was genuinely afraid. He looked down at his hands. "I knew you'd never look for him," he said. "Nobody would connect it to me, and I don't know. You talk about him like he's this perfect guy. Strong, funny, protective. Sometimes I feel like I'll never live up to that." He laughed, bitter and small. "So I borrowed it." I stared at him in disbelief. "You borrowed his name? Like it's a sweater?" "He died, Lucas. He died, and you decided his memory was a convenient disguise so you could have side conversations with other women?" His eyes filled with tears. He started saying he was sorry, that he was insecure, that he felt like I still loved a dead man more than a living one. He twisted my grief into his justification. "I thought if I had another outlet, I wouldn't put so much pressure on us," he said. "I never meant to hurt you." I laughed, this ugly, broken sound. "You used my brother's name to cheat on me, and you never meant to hurt me? Do you even hear yourself?" I showed him every screenshot, his flirty messages, his lies about having no siblings, his invitations to hang out and see where things go. I told him I didn't care whether he slept with any of them or not. The betrayal wasn't just physical. It was emotional, psychological, cruel. He begged me to forgive him, said he'd delete the app, go to therapy, change his name on everything, whatever I wanted. I told him I didn't want any version of him. Not Lucas, not Michael, not the insecure little boy hiding inside a grown man's face. I packed a bag, called my mom, and told her everything. Hearing her cry when I explained the name hurt more than anything he'd done. Now I'm out of that relationship in therapy and trying to rebuild not just my trust in partners, but my sense of safety around my brother's memory. So here's my question for you. If you were in my place, could you ever forgive someone who not only cheated, but did it while wearing the name of the person you lost? Or is that the kind of line that once crossed doesn't just end a relationship? It rewrites every moment you ever thought was real.